Today is going to be so much fun because I have some new Dollar Tree DIYs created, all from my Dollar Tree box challenge. Hi, welcome. If you are new, my name is Jennifer and this is a little bit of Common Crazy. If you're coming over from somebody else's channel, I'm so glad you are here. If you like what you see, I hope you will hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. If you are new to this, it's just a lot of fun. So I got a box sent to me from Yami, the Latina next door, and I sent a box to Shannon over at the Daily DIYer. So the deal is we send 7 to 10 items. I promise I'm not gonna cut myself. Nope, I'm a professional here. Not really. I could very well cut myself, but I won't. We hope. Anyway, so here's the deal. I have a box full of items that Yami has sent me. We're gonna open up this box, see what she sent me. Then I have to try to make things with them. And I actually like to try to make good things that I want to put in my house. So let's see if, well, 1, how challenging is she? 2, how stumped will I be? And can I come up with anything good? And if you want to see what I sent Shannon, make sure you check out her video, and I'm gonna have an entire playlist for you in the description box because this is just a lot of fun. Alrighty. The other thing is I forgot to tell you is we do send each other challenge items that are a little bit more complicated and we rack them up. So that is a challenge item. I always like to wait on those because I find that even more fun.
Okay.
She sent me gold baskets. I'm such a nerd. They're not in my store ever. They're so pretty. I'm so excited. Get my organizing on. Oh goodness. Okay, I'm happy. Now to open the card she sent. Sorry. Just slightly distracted for a moment. Oh, she's so pretty. She has a little business card. She's just so pretty. I love her. Thank you, Yami. Super sweet. Hopefully I don't fail you and I can make some good stuff. We have some good bubble wrapping going on here. So let's see if I can push these things out. So I can see I have a jar. Oh, here we go. One of these little tea light jars. And it looks like I got 2 of those. Scissors would probably be easier. So 2 little tea light jars. Then I have another, oh, this is one of those little decorative. Okay, do you guys remember? I'm about to age myself. I swear it was probably, okay, I was really little. But like the candy jars, and like, it makes me think 70s. And they have like this pattern on it. Every time I see that, that's what it makes me think of is like the, and I swear they're almost always like clear or green, and Dollar Tree even has them in the green. They just don't have the lid. That's what this makes me think of, is like when you would go visit somebody and they would have candy in them. Yep, that's what that makes me think of. A little wooden arrow. I sent one of these to Yami when I had her. She turned it into a house. And now all I see every time I look at the arrow is a house. And I can't do that. I have to come up with something different. Man. She sent me a little, what are these called? Bows. They're called bows. They're bows, people. She sent me these little bows. Yep. I got 2 bows. I'm thinking, I got this. A little picture frame with the clippy clip. And the last thing before my challenge items is the little pumpkin that goes like that. I already know what I'm gonna do with the pumpkin. I do. You just wait. I got an idea. Alrighty, challenge items. Okay. Challenge item number 1. And if you don't know anything about me, I always accept a challenge, no matter what. Okay, she was easy on me. She sent me clothespins, and I love this size of clothespin. She's so nice. Last challenge item. It's squishy, it's soft. Can I do it? It is a grass hula skirt. Is that even grass? I've kind of wanted one of these for fall. Is that weird? Probably. But I wasn't planning on necessarily making something with it. So I might have to stretch my mind a little bit. Alrighty, let's just get to it. To start off with, I decided to ease in with something on the easier side of things. So I'm starting off with this simple little picture frame sign, and I'm just removing the plastic, the clip, and then I'm filling in the holes with some wood filler just to kind of smooth out any of the holes. Once that dried, I went in with some sandpaper and sanded that. Some of the plastic was a little bit rough, and that helped take care of that as well. After that, I went in with some Waverly's chalk paint and ink. Now this is one where I would suggest using a chalk paint just because it's a little bit thicker and a little bit more pigmented. But if you went in with an acrylic paint, you might want to do multiple layers. With the chalk paint, I only needed 1 layer, and that's perfect, and that's all I did. So using Cricut Design Space, I went ahead and I created this design. I will have a link for this down below if you do use Cricut. Now, I chose to go ahead and use 2 different colors, so I'm quickly showing you how I did that. Once I got the 2 lined up and onto the same transfer tape, I went ahead and put them onto the frame. I still don't know quite what to call this. I knew that some of the paint would probably come up, and I was okay with that because if you notice that the frame kind of had a wood grain to it, I was playing into that. So I went back in with a wet towel and I'm wiping off some of the paint to expose it in order to get more of a distressed look, and I absolutely love how this turned out. I have seen so many fun ideas with these arrows, but I wanted to try something just a little bit different. And so I took the one that I was sent, but I went ahead and grabbed 2 more, and I'm cutting them at different lengths. Now use whatever cutting device you have if you're gonna recreate this. I cut each one just 1 inch longer than the previous one. After that, I used some sandpaper to smooth any of my rough edges. Then I went in with some wood glue to glue the tops of my arrows down together to create the beginning of a Christmas tree. While my tops are setting up, I use the bottom of the arrow in order to cut out 3 strips. These are 1 inch across and 3 inches long. I sanded those and then glued them together as well using wood glue. Once both of those pieces had completely dried, I went ahead and I glued my bottom piece to my top piece and created my Christmas tree. I let that completely set up and dry before it was time to go in and paint it. For the paint on the top of the tree, I'm using a combination of fern, ink, as well as white, all from Waverly. I love the color fern, but it's a little bit more bright green than I wanted, so when I add in a little bit of the black or the ink, it just deepens it up and gives it more of a foresty color, and I really like that. So for the very top of that little triangle of the tree, I really wanted a really deep color, and then I went more for a mid-tone in that center, and then that last top or that last triangle piece is where I wanted to lighten it up, and that's when I added the white in. And so I just wanted more of a 3-toned tree. I'm really having fun playing with paint this season if you've been watching, so that should not surprise you. For the trunk of the tree, I used truffle, and I did not change it up at all. I left it the way it was. And here you can see that I used that mid-tone green for the back of the tree as well, and I think that this turned out super adorable. For some reason, I just really am into like fun little unique Christmas trees. When I originally saw this pumpkin, I wasn't thinking Christmas, I was thinking fall, and then I realized I really wanted to stick with Christmas DIYs. So I panicked but then got to it. I went ahead and separated all the different slats from one another by removing the staples and the ribbon off the back. After that, I went to work using my utility knife and the edge of one of the pieces to cut each piece just slightly shorter than the next in order to create a triangle tree shape. Once I got to the top, I had to get a little bit more strategic. So here you see that this is technically the bottom of the pumpkin, and so it has the little ripples in it, so I needed to cut those off because I still needed some smaller pieces to finish out the peak of my tree. And then I cut a triangle for the top of the tree. After that, I went ahead and I took some Goo Gone in order to clear the glitter off of the silvery shiny part. I wasn't too worried that you would still see like the orange paint that was still there because I would be painting over it. I just didn't want the texture to be left behind. To assemble the tree, I'm actually using 2 paint sticks. I get a whole set of these, 10 of them actually, for just under $1 at Home Depot. So here you see that I actually painted this. I don't like the colors of this. It just wasn't working, so ignore the colors for now because I am going to go back in and paint it again, but I want to show you me assembling the tree. Originally, I thought I might use the top of the pumpkin for the bottom of the tree, but once I got everything together, I decided that was a no-go. Using my miter shears, I went ahead and I trimmed 5 inches off the top of the paint stick, and that is the part that I will be using and connecting with the second paint stick. Once I had done that, I went ahead and just started assembling the tree using some hot glue and putting it straight onto my paint sticks. When I got to the point where I was finishing up on one paint stick, I went ahead and lined the second one up, added hot glue to both paint sticks, and then added the part of the tree that was next onto both paint sticks. Then I continue adding the rest of my tree. Now for the color of the tree, I decided to take a little bit of Waverly's chalk paint and fern and Waverly's chalk paint and ink, just the tiniest bit of ink to deepen up that fern, and I painted that entire thing in that beautiful green. After that, I took crimson with the tiniest bit of black to deepen that up, and I painted the bottom part with that, and I love the color combination of this so much better. So I'm using one of the Dollar Tree crates. I have painted this in black, or Waverly's chalk paint and ink actually, and I'm taking some floral foam and just hot gluing that straight to the bottom. I'm just sticking the tree straight in, and then here I have this cloth that comes in the automotive section at Dollar Tree, and just cut it in half and then straight down the center again and just wrapping it in. That will cover up the floral foam and hopefully look a little bit like snow. And I think that this tree turned out so well, and you would never know it started out as a pumpkin. If you couldn't tell, I think this basket is pretty perfect the way it is, but let me show you 3 different ways you could style it for Christmas. So here I have some of the wired greenery from Dollar Tree, a couple of ornaments, the round balls, as well as the cute little gnome. I think he is adorable. Just fill up the basket with the wired greenery. You can also add in some of your favorite picks if you want to. Then go ahead and toss in your ornaments, and I think the final touch of the gnome is absolutely adorable. I love that this has the picks in it and then the little sign that you saw earlier. I think it is super adorable and festive. But this has to be my favorite. It just screams, let's get cozy, with a book filled with classic Christmas stories. I didn't want to make this glass vase a one-trick pony. I wanted to make it something that I could use for Christmas, but really all year long. So I took this copper spray paint, took it out to my spray tent, gave it a good couple coats of that, and then I filled it up with some greenery. The greenery I got from Hobby Lobby, the little berry picks came from Dollar Tree, and I think it is perfect for Christmas. So now it's time for me to tackle these 2 glass jars. So for the first one, I'm using the Dollar Tree larger stickers as well as this red spray paint. To start off with, I took some rubbing alcohol to clean off the jar, and then I spelled out the word joy with the stickers. Then I took it out to my spray tent, gave it a good coat of the red. Once I got the red on there, I decided the red was a little brighter than I wanted, so I took that exact same copper that I had used for the jar earlier, and I went over it with a light coat, and I ended up with a metallic red that I really loved. After the paint dried a little bit, because I didn't want to get fingerprints in the paint, I went to go remove the stickers, and let me tell you, those things were a bugger to remove. To help me get the final little bits and bobs off, I did go in with a Q-tip and some Goo Gone. Let me tell you, if you do have a Cricut, you might want to go in with vinyl. I think it would pop off and peel off a lot easier. The stickers do work if you don't, so don't feel like you have to have a Cricut.
but just know that you might need to take a little bit of time in order to get off. Hey, at least we know they stick well, so there's always a bright side. I just popped a little battery-operated tea light candle into it. This is simple, yet super cute. I love it. With the next jar, I decided to keep it simple. I just spray painted it black. Once it was completely dried, I took it inside, and with these stencils and some Waverly chalk paint in white, I stenciled on the word coal, starting with the word O, then C, then A. The L got a little too close to the A, so I had to wipe it off with a little bit of water and then re-stencil that. I love how simple this one is too, and so many different possibilities when it comes to decorating. You didn't think I forgot about the challenge items. Absolutely not. Challenge accepted. So I'm starting off with the grass skirt in a glass bowl, and I'm just gonna wet it so that I can soak it down because it's rather bulky. I just want to condense it a little bit. After that, I have some tie-dyed, and I just mix it according to the package. I just basically added the powder and the water, and I'm just squirting the tie-dye all into the skirt. I left it alone in the bowl for a couple of hours, and then I came back, I wrung it out to get out the extra liquid, and then I just laid it out to dry. It actually dried a lot faster than I even anticipated. Once it was dried, I started untying the little strands from the rope that they were on, and I did, probably about a fourth of the skirt to begin with. I don't even know exactly how many, but let's be honest, I did not use all of the skirt. I didn't even use half of the skirt. You will not use near as many as you think you will for this project, just so you know. Once I had all my strands, I grabbed a 14-inch wreath form, and you could actually do this with any size of a wreath form. And now it's time for me to start weaving this onto the wreath form. So to begin, I just take a little dab of hot glue so that it will stay in place, and then I'm just going under and over each little, we'll call them rung, of the wreath form, and I just alternate all the way around. And when I finish one piece of the grass, I don't even know, paper strands, paper ribbon, I just hot glue one strand to the next strand, and then I just keep going. You can make this as loose or as tight as you want. I made it fairly tight. That's just the look that I liked. I would suggest that you put on some of your favorite YouTube videos, your favorite Netflix shows, a good movie. It doesn't require a lot of thinking, but this will take a little bit of time. Once I was done wrapping, I took the last piece over one of those center bars and I wrapped it around to cover it up, and then hot glued it on the back. And then I went around covering up the remaining center bars just with one piece of that paper raffia, grass skirt, whatever you're gonna call it, just to hide those little center bars. With the clothespins, I painted half of them white and half of them in Waverly's chalk paint and fern. But I don't actually leave them fern. You will see I didn't like it. I changed that. Are we surprised? Probably not at all. I also painted the bow in Waverly chalk paint and white. It did take a couple of coats to cover it completely. Before I start hot gluing anything down, I wanted to go ahead and lay everything out. So for the green ones, I'm placing them on the outside facing out, and with the white ones, I'm putting them on the center as well as in the middle on those bars, those center bars that I had covered up earlier. So I have two green ones in each section, one white one facing in each section, and then one white one on each bar also facing in each section. Once I had everything in place, I went in with a hot glue gun and attached them with hot glue all in their correct places. After that, I went ahead and I attached the bow, that's what it's called, right onto a clothespin and added that. That's when I decided that I did not like the fern and went back in with Waverly's Crimson and painted right on top of that fern. So now that kind of blends in and the red and white, the white pops off of the red, and I think this looks so much better. And I have a place to put our Christmas cards. Make sure you go see what Shannon has created with a box of items that I have sent to her. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope you have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.